You guys believe in everybody that you put out there on the offensive line, but with Vidarian and Ben not having a ton of time together, are there some accommodations you have to make for a game plan?
I mean, I think there's things we do in every game plan, honestly, regardless of, whether it's guys that have played, 10 games in a row or not. I think you have to take the opponent into consideration. I think you have to take the scheme, the matchups, which is what we try to do every week, regardless of who it is or who isn't out there. But I think we'll have a good 3 days of practice, with the guys that are going to be able to be out there and playing on Monday night. And there's certainly some things we need to do, because of the defense. The defense is a good group, really good group. So their front presents a lot of challenges. They do some things that are very disruptive. They got a lot of good players. And then there's also the unknown of the new play caller, so there's some things up in the air in that regard. So certainly going to get them comfortable with what we're doing. But that group always performs as a group of five. There's always some things that we'll try to do to help in certain situations. But have a lot of confidence in everybody that's going to play. They've been here. They know what we're doing. They know our system. They know the calls. So I look forward to them playing well.
Josh, not to look back too far, but the decision-making on the goal line against the Bengals, can you kind of walk us through that from your perspective?
Which one? Yeah, I wish any one of them would have got in. You always go in with certain things in your game plan, whether that's a two-point menu, low red zone menu, goal line menu. Those things could be affected by injuries. They could be affected by something that the defense is doing, certainly. But I think at the end of the day, that's not an easy place to score from if you don't execute a lot of little things well. And so there was one that we probably shouldn't have called based on the way the defense presented it. That was on me. But there's, we had the one where we score and we get called for an OPI. So there's a lot of little things that have to happen to get 36 inches down there sometimes. And I think we learned a very valuable lesson from watching the tape. There's a lot we can do better in a short area to try to get it in. And we can't take anything for granted down there. Regardless of what the play is, how many times we think we've repped it, they're allowed to do different things down there too, and give us some different challenges. So we certainly have to do a better job of converting those opportunities into touchdowns. Those are going to eventually determine the outcome of games, and we were fortunate that we weren't on the losing end of that one.
Josh, to piggyback off of that, you've been a head coach twice. How much do you respect Mike's sort of feel for game management and adaptability there? You guys have been aggressive all year long. Going into that Cincinnati game, you had the highest fourth down conversion rate in the NFL. Yet when you got back down there that second time and it got to fourth down, he was emphatic about going for the three, and that ended up being really the difference in the game.
No doubt. The answer to the question would be, without question, I have zero concerns about him making those choices, because I think he has an incredible understanding of our team, where we're at, what kind of game it is, what do we need to do to win the game. It's not about having some kind of blind bravado or anything like that. We're offensive coaches and offensive players. We always want to go for it, but nobody remembers the times where we don't make it. It's like, yeah, we've converted on, but there's times where we get stopped. So I think at that point in time, coach made the decision to go up by 2 scores. And we end up getting another field goal out of it, and that creates the margin where they can't kick a field goal at the end of the game to tie us. So, no, he's got a great feel for it. He knows exactly, what's happening on all 3 phases. We're really locked into one. So, I trust Mike and what he's doing implicitly on every situation. I thought he made a great call there to do that.
How hard is that as a head coach? Because obviously you have philosophies, you have things you believe in, right?
Yeah.
That you want to stick to, that are part of your identity. As a head coach, and then you get in a situation like that. How hard is it to deviate?
It's like a tug of war inside yourself sometimes. I think it would probably be, the guys that call plays probably can be a little bit of a bigger tug of war. because there's a guy on your shoulder telling you to go for it. I got a great play. It'll work. And then there's the other guy on the other shoulder saying, the right thing to do might not be that. So there's two sides of that. I think if you're like I said, with whoever it is, whether it's Andy or Sean Payton or some of those guys, Sean McVay, those guys I'm sure go through that struggle of, man, I have a good thing. I think we can get it, but the right thing for the team might do something else. So that's probably harder on them. But, I think competitive people want to do the right thing and help our team win in any situation. That doesn't necessarily always mean going for it.
How important has Conor Henry been for this offense and for Drake? What makes him so productive in your system?
There's no shortage of ways to describe this. He's an incredible teammate. He's one of our most respected workers on our team without question every day. He's ready to go, takes great care of his body, is able to go out there and rep things at full speed after so many years of being in the league. I think he's continuing to get better at things, which is an incredible example for our younger players. He's dependable, he studies, he's well prepared. I mean, there's just anything you ask him to do, whether it's, for him to have success statistically or someone else, it doesn't make any difference. He's going to do it the best of his ability to try to help the team win. And I think his only goal is for us to win at the end of the day. So one of the most unselfish people I've ever been around, great leader, great teammate, incredibly fortunate to have a chance to coach him.
Josh, when it comes to see the backup quarterbacks in action a bunch, over the course of since Labor Day, really. I'm curious how those guys have done with their assignments over the course of the year, both Josh.
Done a nice job. They prepare hard like they're going to play, and I think that's the only way to go about it. If you don't prepare like that, and then all of a sudden something happens, you'll get caught off guard, and that's not a good thing in this league. So Dobbsy was ready in Tennessee when he was called upon in the short spurt there. And Tommy is doing a great job, and Ashton does a great job of testing those guys and quizzing those guys and does things through each day of the week to make sure that they're ready to go and that they're thinking the game the way that Drake is, So, in practice, with the shorter number of practice reps you get, you just can't give like we do in OTAs in the summer where it's half and half. There's none of that going on. So I don't think that happens anywhere in the league. So minimal reps, but a lot of mental reps for them. They have to take them. They have to make good use of them. And they have to continue to prepare like a starter because when they're called upon, they're the most important guy in the organization at that point. So.
How do you see Vidarian just as a fit in your offense and with the techniques that Doug, you, and the rest of the offensive line coaches teach?
Yeah, Elo's done a nice job, and I can't comment on the things he's done before because I don't know exactly what those systems asked of him. Certainly have seen him on tape many, many times. But I think he's acquitted himself well as a pass blocker. He knows what to do. I think the biggest thing for guys in this situation is just making sure that your wingman and you are on the same page at all times, whether that's the guard, the tight end beside you, whatever it is. It's not a solo situation for anybody out there, especially in the offensive line when you're working together with somebody on every play. So I've got a lot of confidence in him. He's been here all year. He knows what to do. Stepped in and did some nice things last week too. So, again, we got confidence in our group. That's the most important thing.
Josh, when you envision offensive plays and design them, do you start with protection and then work your way through the skill positions of what they do, or are you someone who does it the other way? How does that?
Yeah, I understand the question. I think you start with what takes care of the strength of the other team first. And usually every week we have the great fortune to have to deal with incredible defensive linemen. And so that's just the challenge we have every week. So for us, it's always going to start with, can we slow this guy down? Or what do we need to do to make sure that we give ourselves maximum amount of time to throw the football when we're throwing it? And, is there anything that they do disruptively in the running game to create negative runs and second and long, third and long type situations? So it's kind of always been like that. There's no shortcut to it. It's not easy. Each team presents different challenges. The scheme combined with the players' demand that you do different things on a weekly basis. You can't just say, well, this, we're going to do what we do every week. That's hard to do against really good players that with moving targets, with the scheme and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of variables. Hopefully we whittle it down to a few things that are really important to us on a weekly basis. Let our guys get really good at those things and then try to go out there and do them the best we can. So again, this team presents a lot of challenges. Be interesting to see just the new complexities or the identity that it may take on. Who knows? Maybe the same, may not. Probably some things that are going to change with the play caller. So looking forward to the challenge. Yeah, thanks a lot.